Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another Jurassic World Dominion Ferocious Pack figure to take a look at. This is the third in the entire wave. The only other one is a Velociraptor Blue, which I'm not very interested in, if you want to be honest about it, because we've had so many Velociraptor Blue figures in the past. It's not one that I was aching to get a hold of. I'll probably get a hold of it at some point, and if I do, I may review it for you guys just to complete this set. But if you want to see a review of it, definitely let me know in the comment section, and I will do that. But it doesn't look too far off from many of the other Velociraptor Blue figures, so I haven't been like going crazy trying to get a hold of it or anything like that. But I will definitely grab it when I find it. Regardless, this one here is the best looking Ferocious Pack figure of this first wave, in my opinion. It's definitely the one I was most excited about, and here in hand, it absolutely still remains the same. It is a beautiful looking version of the Dsungaripterus, which is a very cool looking pterosaur, and such an obscure species for Mattel to choose to create, which I absolutely love. Mattel has been absolutely incredible and killing it when it comes to coming up with some really cool off-the-wall species to include in their line. So many species that if you would have asked me about 4 years ago if we'd ever see in the Jurassic World line, I would have definitely told you absolutely not. But Mattel has just been blowing my mind as far as the many different species they've been choosing to create and giving us some insanely awesome figures of so many different species, and this is definitely a pterosaur I never expected to see in the Jurassic World line. But it looks great as far as what we have here at first glance. The packaging, pretty much your standard when it comes to the Dominion line. We have that beautiful Rexy who looks like it's actually about to chomp down on the pterosaur. And then if we take a look here at the back of the box, again, you can see that we have a sneak peek kind of the scan code. And you can also see the other figures that are in the line, which we now have reviewed, the Moros and the Maragaya. We also have the Velociraptor Blue, which again, we'll get to at some point, maybe sooner rather than later. And then we also have the Dsungaripterus, which we are about to take a look at right now. So let's go ahead, pop this out of the packaging, and do just that. And here is our Dsungaripterus figure, and it really, really is a beautiful looking figure. Like, they have done a good job on this one. I really like the coloration of it. I wish, of course, we would have had this lower jaw coloration here run along the underside. Definitely would have helped a lot as far as the coloration goes, but it still looks really good. I like the tones of color they've chosen for the figure as a whole. Very nice, very appealing, even allowing some flashiness like up here on the crests of the pterosaur right there in the eye area. Beautiful tones of color, honestly, that play off of each other very nicely. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at this figure right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Dsungaripterus, you can see some really nice detailing to the beak all the way up there into the crests of the pterosaur. Like, it looks really nice as far as a detailing standpoint, as far as the skin texture goes of the pterosaur. I think it looks very, very nicely done. You have some nice kind of creasing and wrinkling there around the eye. The eye is painted with a yellow, given a nice black or a dark brown pupil, and a nice gloss coat which helps it to shine, although there is that bluish coloration that kind of circles around the eye and then runs down the beak a little bit. Also kind of has not only like a glossy look, but almost like a metallic shine a little bit, which helps that area to stand out, but also kind of blends the gloss coat there when it comes to the eye with that bluish coloration around it. Not really a bad thing or anything, but just something to take note of. You can see that we have like a reddish brown coloration, like a very dark reddish brown here up in the crest of the pterosaur here in the back. And you can see we have more of that blue running along this area of the crest right here up above the beak. As we open the beak, you can see it can open very wide. You also can see that we have teeth included. And although this pterosaur did have teeth, I feel like Mattel has done a not so great job on the figure as far as the teeth go, because there's like an area here at the front of the beak that shouldn't really have teeth on this pterosaur, but Mattel decided to kind of give the teeth the entire run of the beak. I mean, you can kind of see like a little area here where they decided not to put the teeth, but I feel like it's just, a little bit too many teeth. It does run a little bit too far out. They should have given the area out here a little bit more room to have that end of the beak area where there are no teeth. But the figure again is absolutely overloaded with teeth. We can see the tongue inside the mouth is painted with a nice pinkish tone of color, given a beautiful gloss coat. The teeth themselves are also painted, not perfectly. You can see a little bit of sloppiness in there, but they still look pretty good. And considering it's a Jurassic figure, you can't really ever take accuracy into question, because the dinosaurs, pterosaurs, everything in Jurassic World are not full-blown 100% pure species, as they are kind of mixed with like frog DNA and things like that. So you never really can tell what they're going to look like, and that's why the Jurassic figures can always get away with inaccuracies, but it's just the way it is. Regardless, it still looks really, really good again as far as the detailing and even the paintwork here in the face. You can see some pycnofibers picking up here on the lower jaw, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about this figure, is it is just loaded with pycnofibers, and you can see them here as we lead back from the eye. There are just pycnofibers picking up all over the place, really scruffy ones right here on the back of the head. As we move here along the neck region, you can see that we do have some more skin texture right here in the neck region as we move along. Like, we have some pycnofibers picking up really abundant right here, and then you can see they run along the back of the pterosaur, but we do still have some more of the skin running along the side of the neck. You can even see kind of like some tensing in the neck of the pterosaur. And then as we get back up here into the body, you start to see the pycnofibers are completely overtaking the back. I like how the dark brown continues to run down here, but we have kind of like the splotches of the yellow coloration creeping through. And they've done a pretty good job of attempting to conceal the DNA scan code area, because with the way that they've done it on this one, it kind of just looks like pycnofibers are lifting up off of the body here. So it's a little bit more hidden than what you see on a lot of other figures. So at least Mattel kind of tries to disguise it, but it's obviously still pretty clear that it's there. It just is, at least an attempt to hide it. As you move out here into the body, you can see again the muscle definition here, and as you lead out the length into the hand, you can see some scoots down the fingers. You see the nails are very nicely sculpted. They sport a gloss coat but no actual paintwork to them, just a glossy look. And you can see the wings are completely coated in pycnofibers, so this figure is pretty much entirely here on the upper side covered in pycnofibers, and you see that same deal here as you run out the length of the opposing wing. And you can also see that we do have a very dark brown speckling to the figure, which is, a pretty common thing when it comes to Mattel figures. And then as you move down here into the legs, you can see more nice muscle definition, more pycnofibers and everything before we transition back to a skin textured type of a look for the feet. Again, no nail paint at all. We just don't have nail paint on either the hands or the feet of this figure. You can see more scoots down the toes, which look really good. You can see, though, as we run up here along the underside, that we have more pycnofibers. So the underside has lots and lots of pycnofibers as well here running along the stomach and chest region. You can kind of make out even some muscle definition as sort of like almost the rib cage as well there of the pterosaur on the underside. And again, you run up the entire underside of the pterosaur. Even in the throat, we have more of those pycnofibers. Although on the underside of the wing, you can kind of see more of a skin-textured type of a look down here rather than pycnofibers like we had seen on the upper side. But you can really take note to the fact that the speckling is extremely abundant here on this figure, and you can really pick that out here on the underside. But honestly, it is a beautiful looking pterosaur. I really feel like Mattel did a great job on this, and I also love how there's kind of like imperfections as you run along the underside here, or the bottom of the skin flap here of the wings. You can kind of see how it's like a little wavy, giving it, again, in my opinion, a very realistic look. So Mattel has done a very, very good job as far as the sculpt of this figure goes. Definitely my favorite out of all of the Ferocious Packs in the first series, the first wave. And although, again, there's always a little room for improvement when it comes to the paint application, I really like the paint apps of this figure. So as a whole, this is definitely the best Ferocious Pack that we've had from the Mattel Jurassic World Dominion line. As far as articulation goes, we do have some pretty fun articulation. Again, you have the articulated jaw, which is a little stiff, but not too bad. You can see it can articulate quite nicely. We also have articulation in the neck, so the head can go down. It can also go up if you choose to. You can kind of see like a little bit of a jerky motion. So it kind of actually like positions the neck in the different areas for you. And you also have articulation in the wings, which is actually really smooth, but when you try to articulate it here, this area of the skin flap kind of gets stuck on the thigh of the pterosaur, but you can see it can move pretty nicely, and it can also swivel. Same deal for both sides. Again, it's that same style of articulation, though this side's a little bit stiff. There we go. We've got the wings bent there. And then you also have articulation in the legs. Though they move together, they don't move independently, but you can see that you can articulate the pterosaur so that it can kind of land and now stand up a little bit. Let's see if we can get the wings positioned in a way that I don't know, it's a little tough. In a way that the pterosaur can stand. Kind of. Not really. It's a little bit tough to stand up a pterosaur. There he's sitting now. So We've got our pterosaur taking a seat right here before us. But if we actually straighten the legs back out again, we'll stand it up here on the wall. The wings are just like driving me crazy when it comes to the thighs right there. So if we stand it up here, try to get a better shot of it. Now I moved the camera specifically for that last moment there, and now it's out of place. But for a size on our pterosaur, as far as the wingspan goes, you're looking at about 7¼ inches or around 18½ centimeters. And then for a height or length, whatever you would like to call this, about 5½ inches or 14 centimeters. And now I'm pulling the backdrop down with the tape measure. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Golovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon in comparison to our Dsungaripterus figure from Mattel. And you can definitely see again that it sports that same similar Attack Pack, Wild Pack size range that you've seen before, and now I guess Ferocious Pack, and definitely is a bit on the smaller side. No huge size or impressive size or anything with this pterosaur, but overall it is a gorgeous looking version of this pterosaur. And then for a second comparison, there is a Dimorphodon from Mattel next to our Dsungaripterus, and you can see again roughly of the size between both. The Dimorphodon actually looks like the wingspan might potentially be a little bit longer, but not by much. They're actually a fairly similar size. And then for another comparison, here is a Mattel Pteranodon. Again, the standard size Pteranodon in comparison to the Dsungaripterus. Again, showing you that it falls right in the same similar size range as all of the pterosaurs of this, Attack Pack, Wild Pack size goes. Definitely right in the exact same size range, if not maybe a tiny bit smaller. Also, again, the Jurassic Facts app is pretty easy to find on this one, and actually works a lot easier because you just lift this area of the back up, and there is the code for you to add this to your collection if you would like to, but it's not quite as obnoxious as some of the other scan codes that Mattel has been giving their figures lately. So this is an absolutely awesome pterosaur release from Mattel for the Jurassic World Dominion line. I would love to see this pterosaur actually make an appearance in the film. Fingers crossed maybe it does. I don't think so, but considering the Morose was included in this line, and that definitely makes an appearance. The Velociraptor Blue was in this line. That definitely makes an appearance. We don't know if the Miragaia does, but we at least can hope that maybe the Dsungaripterus will. But this is a gorgeous looking figure. I love the fact that Mattel has coated it with pycnofibers. That's something that you don't always see from Mattel. I mean, we have seen it in the past, but I feel like the pycnofibers don't look as good on the other ones as it does on this one. Like, they're really noticeable on this pterosaur, and it overall is a gorgeous looking, again, interpretation of this pterosaur, especially with those pycnofibers completely coating the figure. The sculpt is very highly detailed, incredibly nice to look at, really beautiful skin detail, beautiful detail on the inside of the mouth, really nice. Pycnofibers, again, like I stated before, just a lot of really nice looking detail through the course of the figure. The paintwork as well is beautiful, if you ask me. I really love the tones of color they've chosen for it. I feel like it's pretty nice and naturalistic overall, and they've done a good job of keeping it natural but adding in some flashiness with the coloration of the crest and the blues in the face and everything. The only area of the figure that I'm not a huge fan of would be the fact that the teeth run, in my opinion, a little bit too far up toward the tip of the beak. That definitely could have been improved upon a little bit, but at the same time, it still looks really good, and that's really about the only minor nitpick I think I have for the figure. Some nail paint definitely would have been a plus as well, but as a whole, it's a really cool pterosaur with some fun articulation. So if you are interested in this, make sure you check your local Walmart, as that's where this one was located as well. So if you can find it, definitely pick it up. It's a recommendation for sure, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.